Now I'm just in my living room. So this is an LG 77-inch OLED. It doesn't really matter as long as you have the same remote. Most of the time the operating system is pretty much the same. So we're going to start off with the remote. So we got the power, obviously your digits here, your numbers. Most of the time you're not using these unless you're using it for your cable box, but most people aren't. Only other time you might use these is if you have your antenna connected and you want to punch channel 19, channel 7, 56, 51, so forth and so on. Aside from that, you won't really use it. Here you have a button that's labeled list. So that button is for when you're on your guide, or if you want your guide after you're inside of your cable channels. Most of the time you won't be using that either unless you're, of course, doing the cable. This little 3 dots is more options. So a lot of times when you click that, more options will come up depending on what you're watching. So you got mute, minus, and plus and minus right here. So for volume, up and down. Channels, up and down on the right side. The home button. So the home button is what brings up all the apps on the TV. So this button you'll probably use a lot. The one here in the middle is the microphone. And the one here is your source or your input button. It looks like a little cable. This one right here. That's how you're going to be able to get to all your sources or anything that's plugged into the TV. Maybe it's a DVD player, maybe it's a PlayStation or a cable box. That's the button for that. There's no arrows on this directional keypad, but keep in mind, up, down, left, right. The center one is select or OK. It's also on this Magic Remote a mouse, so it'll roll up and down. So if you want to hit OK, just make sure you actually hear it click, and you should see a red button on your remote. So that's the OK button. Return button is that arrow. And then this one here is a settings button. You can do picture settings, sound settings, Wi-Fi, network connection, all that kind of stuff right there. These buttons here, likely you will never use. They're programmable to like your cable box or like a on the cable or the antenna channels, but you probably won't use those. Shortcuts, Netflix, Disney, Prime, and LG. Now your remote, depending on like how old or new it is, it might have different apps here. These are just shortcuts. So instead of hitting home and then scrolling across your TV to get to your app, if it's Netflix or Disney or Prime or maybe LG, then you just can push it here and it'll shoot you right into it. If you have a different app, then just click that same button and it'll shoot you to a different app. Maybe it's Apple TV, maybe it's Hulu. But in this case, these are the buttons I have, and that's pretty much the gist of your remote.